Hello, welcome back to Art of Awakening. This is Ona Christie, and thanks for joining me for the spirit animal reading for this week of May 3rd, 2020. And we are moving into a full moon in Scorpio on Thursday the 7th. And I'm going to just pull a few cards for this week. One of the themes that's coming up that I've noticed this week is patience and step by step, getting the little things done, sweating the small stuff, right? And also the idea of relearning the lessons, because we're coming, to the end of a huge cycle, and sometimes the lessons that we have already learned will come up again, so we can learn them at a deeper level. So if it feels like things are you're kind of revisiting some things, or if some things are maybe not going right, look and see a little deeper and see if those are maybe just recurring patterns that just sort of echoes of stuff that you've been through. If you can start recognizing patterns, then you can say, oh, wait a sec, I've already dealt with this in maybe a different part of the life or something like that. And you can start to recognize, oh, okay, well, that's just that same pattern. And since you've already, learned those lessons, anything that comes up right now should be relatively easy to move through if this is ringing true for you as well. And then lastly, the idea of some of the stuff may not even be yours, right? A lot of us empaths, we carry stuff that isn't really, we tune into other people. And what's not yours, sometimes it can just be excessive feelings of, picking up on the emotions, but sometimes it's that feeling of responsibility. And so as you move through this week, consider anything that's coming up that feels a burden or anything. Is this really your responsibility, or is this really something that you can actually wash your hands of or give to the angels, right? Because sometimes we take on more than we really need to. Okay, the first animal to come up here is blue whale. And this is it came up in reverse. So a part of what whale symbolizes to me anyway is this idea of communication, speaking your truth, right? So especially anywhere where the old lessons come up, it's super, super important this week to communicate, to be really in tune with what are your needs, right? And to recognize that you do deserve to, you would deserve to be here on the earth, for one. You're here for a reason. And if there's things that come up that just really are making you feel uncomfortable or are painful or whatever, it's important to speak up about it. And there's a difference between complaining and actually speaking up. Okay, so complaining is this more, it's almost like this victim mentality thing, right? The world's out to get me, or, I'm just miserable, blah, blah, blah. Speaking up for yourself is saying, hey, there's a specific thing. Maybe it's the neighbor's dog barking. Maybe it's, who knows what it is, but if it's really impinging on, or maybe something within yourself, right? If something is blocking you in some way that is, you put it in perspective, great, because we're all still in this pandemic situation, and sometimes, I don't like wearing a mask going into a store, but I'm doing it anyway. But it's like, watch where you're not speaking up for yourself where you really need to, okay? Because sometimes a lot of anxiety and pain and so forth can be avoided simply by everybody, bringing everything up into light and saying, hey, look, here's the issue, and what can we collectively do to resolve it? And also watch the complaining. If if you find yourself complaining, and I'm speaking for myself as well as everybody else, then really look at, okay, start to notice that kind of complaining tone, and is this really something to be complaining about, or can I just accept it? Okay, so that is Blue Whale, the first card for this week. Communication and taking responsibility for one's own comfort and situation. Even just the verbal responsibility, it goes a long way towards resolving discomfort. Next card is Snake. Snake has come up a lot this quarter, continues to come up. Of course, this is a really quintessential transformation animal. You know, the snake is the one that sheds the skin, and I think we're just continuing with this rebirth of the planet. You know, this is a rebirth of humanity. This is a really transformational time that we're in. So keep in mind that it's a delicate time, right? Because there's periods of time when the snake sheds its skin, at least some species, where it clouds over the eyes, where it's harder for them to see. Some animals that shed and become a little bit more vulnerable right after they shed. So this can be a time of vulnerability. So just maintaining that compassion, again, clear communication is absolutely vital right now. Vital. And so just really keep that in mind, because it can help to navigate change like almost nothing else. That communication is absolutely critical. So if somebody around you you find is complaining, or if there's a lot of chaos around you, see if you can cut through it just through communication. Okay, sometimes you sit somebody down and say, okay, you know, just tell me calmly, you know, try and find out what's at the bottom of things. And the last one is Horse. Again, this can be nervousness, nervous energy, right? But when that nervous energy is channeled, okay, if a really nervous horse, if you put a really experienced, very grounded rider on them, a lot of times, sometimes it's those real nervous Nellies that can be the outstanding racehorse, right? Or the show jumper, or whatever it is. So being able to harness, you know, any kind of nervous anxiety or whatever, that's energy that, when it's properly channeled and grounded, can be very productive, okay? Or you know, channeled into whatever that's positive. Okay, so where can we take our nervous Nellies and channel them into something that is a positive place to put the energy? It could be as simple as just working out and taking care of the physical body, or it could be, you know, other things as well. Just deciding on a course of action might be all that's needed, right? But horses are very, very powerful totem, but it does require a lot of consistency and grounding and balance, and also the communication. If you think of a horse and rider, there's constant communication going, and it's that communication with the animal, and always letting it know that you know, that somebody else is in charge. So consider this week, we're not in charge, right? Who's in charge? Okay, give that nervousness up to Source. Know that Source is in charge, and you know, just you can even, might even just be yourself, between yourself and Source, asking, communicating, right? The universe responds when we communicate with it. So consider this a really good week also to just renew the connection with the universe, with Source, with God, however you want to phrase it, right? Thanks for joining me. Appreciate all your likes, subscribes, and we'll catch you again soon. If you feel inclined to work with me at all, that information is below, and I am offering a pay it forward. Excuse me, the pay it forward offer expired, but I am offering a buy donation through May, so I will leave the information for that below. Have a lovely week, and we'll catch you again soon.